Family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio with your host, Brother Rich. I'm on the line today with one of the premier black speakers in the black community when it comes to UFOs, the brother Roz Ben. Welcome to the show, brother.
Yes, sir. Bless up.
All right, now I had to have you on the show. I've been watching this news story lately, and I had people that's out in LA and Cali call me, telling me about something that was in the sky. A massive blue UFO appeared over Los Angeles on November 7th. So I had probably about 4 or 5 people call me and ask me, do I think it's Project Bluebeam? What do I think it is? Who can I talk to about it? So, it's not discussed that much in the black community as it is in other communities for whatever reason. That's why I'm glad I'm able to reach out to a brother like yourself, so the masses could hear another perspective on what's being told on the media. They're saying it's a missile strike. I'm hearing all types of things. Brother Roz Ben, with that being said, could you tell me, is there anything that our community should know what's going on when it comes to this video that's being shared millions and millions of times in a couple of days? Is there anything going on, Brother Roz Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do want to start by saying that as a community, we do have to broaden our horizons, and it is, I would think, an example of conceptual incarceration when we do not open our reality to the star nations. I avoid that term UFO and ET because it has its own specific connotations, and that's really having Babylon define what these things are, right? So, I want to start by saying that, and I would also, to build on that, say that it would be the exact parallel that if we were enslaved during the time bore Western man acknowledged that the earth is shaped like a globe and not a flat plane, right, these cats would be arguing how far do the ends of the earth go, because they're letting those that have enslaved them define their reality. Because when you study any of our ancestral traditions, the Nile Valley, the Dogon, the Zulu, indigenous Americans over here, you name it, they all talk about the Star Nations and our celestial family. These people are these beings that we're seeing the ships of which over LA, and the same ship was over Miami a couple of months ago, right? Yeah, man, this is our celestial family. And our ancestors have left enough tradition, enough cosmology, enough mythology and history for us to study to know who these ones are, right? So that ship that appeared over LA the other day, our ancestors in the Nile, they would say that was Ra's Ark of a million years.
Mm-hmm.
If we was in the Niger Delta with the Hogan priest, the Dogon high priest, yeah, they would call that craft the Korana, the Ark of the Pure Earth. And if we was with our indigenous brethren on this side, they would say, yeah, that was Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent. Okay, so there's enough tradition.
So with that tradition being said, what's the purpose? The people want to know what's the purpose of the ship, something they've never seen in their lifetime, appearing over L.A. Yeah, is it to
open our eyes to their awareness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they've been actually trying to get our attention for a long time. And with that being said, I do have a YouTube clip called "The Heavens Are Open." You can go to my YouTube channel, Roston188. I have a full-length documentary called "The Heavens Are Open" that goes into detail all how these star nations are in our different traditions. But the reality is this. We're like a human shield right now. We, meaning the children of the Elohim. See, you got children of the Elohim, the children of the gods, the Netzeru, and then you got children of the Nephilim, children of the reptilians, right? So we're in the middle of what you might call a celestial battle, an intergalactic battle, where and this thing ain't nothing new. This been going on from ancient times. That's what I'm saying. We got to study our traditions, right? But right now you got these children of the Nephilim, these fallen angels. You call them those 13 bloodlines or the Illuminoids, the so-called Illuminati, right? And prophecy, tradition has said from long time that they're going to catch a judgment from our celestial ancestors. Okay? That's what Revelations is all about, the book of Revelations. And First Jude, it says, "Behold, I come with thousands and thousands and myriads of my saints and holy ones to execute judgment." Right? We weren't talking about humanity. We weren't given authority to judge. We would have said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Right? Mm-hmm. So who are these ones given authority to judge? Right? In that Judeo-Christian tradition, they would call them the Ophanim or the Ophan. Their angelic order. Okay? Third highest angelic order after the seraphim and the cherubim. And they ride what's called the Merkaba, the divine throne chariot of the Most High. The Judeo equivalent to Ra's Ark of a Million Years. That was the craft that was witnessed over L.A. And in layman's terms, or like regular terms, we would call it a pyramid mothership. Because when you see it, not in its plume cloud effect, and what it's actually doing was opening up a wormhole to leave our atmosphere. When it opens up a wormhole, that's the plume cloud that you see. Okay? Okay. And it's hard to go into this like in a half hour. That's why I mentioned my full-length documentary, but I'm just putting it out there, And the reality is they're here to execute that judgment on the children of the Nephilim. But, see, the children of the Nephilim know what's up. We're the ignorant ones. We're the not knowing ones. We're the ones talking about that's some old fake ET UFO stuff that we don't have to pay attention to. Right? So we're not even aware of where we are, that we're being used as a human shield to prevent these children of the Nephilim from catching a judgment. Is that why, Brother Rob? These Ophan, they are celestial family. They don't want to harm us. They've been here for thousands of years protecting us. So the first step is to make us aware. So that sighting was part of a trend that's been building since 2009, where really that pyramid mothership is doing something almost every day. From the point that we've moved into this cell phone camera era, where 9 out of 10 people got a high-resolution camera in their pocket, and an event jump off in the atmosphere, they can pull it out and capture it. Right? So Babylon's been explaining it away from before that time. Oh, it was swamp gas. Oh, it was, this, it was that. It was a missile. That's what they popping now, right? It's a missile. And people would have to accept it. But now when you get hundreds of clips of the same phenomena and you're able to study them over time, it's hard for them to keep spinning that lie. Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you had a question.
No, I was just it was interesting what you were saying. I actually heard the brother Bobby Hemmett say I don't want to quote him directly, but when Barack first got elected, he says when they know some shit going to go down, they'll put a black person in there as a protection, sort of to protect them from any type of extraterrestrial attack. So it's interesting that you're saying that they don't want to harm us, and it's interesting that people saying that once they went black with the president, there's no going back to what they was before. So it was just interesting that you said that,
Yeah. So,
but something else that we're seeing that I want to ask you about too. That's kind of similar to the story in China. I don't know. It was probably about a month ago or something like that. Where a mysterious city appeared in the sky for, and they're saying it was some type of illusion or something like that. Right. But it was like a mysterious. What was that about?
Yeah, now that might be some blue beam action. Okay. That might be some holographic projection to confuse people and play tricks on the eye and the mind. Okay, because. Well, I've been studying this thing intensely since 2011, but, coming from, like I say, about 2009, 2010, when this footage started appearing, right? Because, I might be clown for this, but I'll be straight up, all right? I'm a child of the 70s. I was born in the 60s, raised in the 70s in Washington, D.C., So I was raised in the Parliament Funkadelic era, right? And see, that's another thing. When I say we have to look at what our traditions say about these things. Because you study George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, you study Sun Ra and the Sun Ra Orchestra, mentions of the celestial hierarchy, it was always something to rejoice about. One of the most exciting, exhilarating, musical experiences out of the 70s was the Mothership Connection. When the mothership, the pyramid mothership, with orbs around it, would come down. And then, bam, Dr. Funkenstein would come out, right? And Dr. Funkenstein, who was he? The big pill. He said, the bigger the headache, the bigger the pill. Saying he's the solution. He's your remedy. He's your medicine. So, yeah, man, I decoded from a youth, I decoded Parliament Funkadelic and saw the messages in it. So I'm studying YouTube for something else, some additional research. It was like 2010, and I keep seeing these images of this pyramid mother, right? And I'm like, what? So for a minute I was ignoring it. Because you know how YouTube is. You can be studying something, and they put them little clips on the side, and if you're not disciplined, you'll get spun out. The original thing you study, and you about 3/4 for that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I ignored it, but then, yeah, man. One day, Ancestors was like, yo, you need to, you seeing this pyramid mothership appear on this screen? You need to explore that. What the hell is that? And I looked at it, and I was like, huh. But I'm saying to say that there seems, okay, so on YouTube, you will find footage of about 5 different types of craft. 3 of the craft seem to be from the Hofan, from our heavenly host. Okay? And that's the Pyramid Mothership. Another craft that's been called the Cigar UFO or the Cylinder UFO. And then what they call the orbs. And to be truth be told, the orbs, my research to say, the orbs are not ships as much as beings. They are humanoid beings that they're bioluminescent, meaning they can light up, and they can fly in our atmosphere. Okay? I know that sounds far-fetched and, fanciful and ridiculous. I know that, but That's what my research said. And again, our ancestors spoke of these ones.
So I guess people would say, one of the first things people would say is, should we call upon these ships for help, or because the first thing people going to do is people going to be scared as hell. They're going to say,
freak out, because that's why they want us to know what's up. You got those three that are the ships of the Opham, but then you got two more crafts. The disc craft, also known as the flying saucer, and this is the original term. This is the original craft that they termed UFO. That's why I say we got to avoid that term. And the V-shaped craft, the wing-shaped V craft. These crafts have been created by the children of the Nephilim, by these fallen angels that actually live inside of the earth. Okay? These are those reptilian beings. They also work with a created race of entities that are known as the Greys. And these are spawned entities that are kind of like plant robots. That's the best way to describe them. They don't have a inborn consciousness by nature and birthright. They're these created beings whose bodies are of a plant-like substance that were spawned by these reptilian beings to further manipulate us, because they want to spin us out on a couple of levels. One, they want to make us fear, like you said, brother, they want to make us fear what's coming from the heavens. So that's why all Hollywood movies on this subject, the theme is be scared. Stormship Troopers, Independence Day, Battleground LA, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these ones, it's like the ones coming from the heavens are a mindless, invasive force coming to just slay us and take over the planet. But the ones that are making the discraft and the V-craft, they're using them to spin that story in the real life. So now when we encounter those crafts, those are the ones that are responsible for what they call those alien abductions, missing time, right? When you encounter one, bam, you got some missing time and your genitals hurt. Or you find some strange probe implanted in your body. It's like a tracking device or a microchip or something. Okay? Yeah, man, these cats, they've been around for a long time. Our ancestors called them the incubus and the succubus. These entities, they would take you, conduct strange sex acts with you to steal your vital essence, and they would use your vital essence to spawn other entities, other beings. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. We got to study this thing. We can't just say it's some old fanciful bullshit, which is what really Babylon wants us to do. And then just be ignorant of who we are, where we are in space-time.
Now, you mentioned earlier. You mentioned, we're in the era of the camera phones, where everybody could record something, at the drop of a dime. Something else that's been talked about a lot this year that I'm seeing all over the place, that Dr. Blair used to talk about, is the double sun. What can you tell me? I was watching some footage the other day where a person had their phone turned to the right side. There was a sun. They turned all the way to the left, and then there was another sun appearing in the clouds. What can you tell me about the double sun?
Right, I've been studying that myself. And to be honest, brother, I'm still studying. And I'm still out on that verdict, right? But I will say that, right, on one level, a lot of people are saying it's Nibiru, where Zechariah Sitchin supposedly deciphered Sumerian text that talked about this twin dark star that our sun has. It has a very elongated elliptical orbit, which causes it, so even though it's a member of our solar system, it's really only visible once around every 3,900 years. Okay? And that it's due to come around this time. So that's one tradition that I've heard, right? But the Dogon do also have a tradition for what's called Tabatolo, the day of Tabatolo, which they call the reuniting of the twin placentas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that can be interpreted as saying that our son had a twin son, and that they, would be reunited. Okay? And it should be stated that most suns in our galaxy are members of a binary star system, the Sirius star system being a prime example. But when you look at the star Sirius, you see one star, but if you really study that joint, there's two stars in that system. One being what they call main sequence star that's similar to our sun. It's burning its energy through hydrogen fusion into helium, right? Then you got a dark star companion, which is a star that is an elder star. It's no longer plasma fusion fueled. It's more like a stellar crystal. Intense pressure on hydrogen ions is what fuels it, causes it to release energy. And these dark stars are also super heavy. The Dogon describes Sirius B as being a metal that's called Sagala. And they say Sagala is so heavy, like one handful would weigh like 4 tons, Mm-hmm. And so these heavy celestial beings have great influence on the field, the fabric of space-time, gravity,
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's what I could speak on at Nibiru at this time. I've seen the footage. I've seen some footage that looks very believable and very credible, But I'm still studying that thing myself, and I really don't know what the consequence of such a thing, if it really is happening, what that would mean.
So do you think we're going to see more and more of this, like the blue UFO? That's pretty much the most I've seen in one, pretty much like in a long time, like where everywhere you turn around, there's footage. Do you think these entities are going to make themselves known more and more because that's the time on us?
Well, brother, they've been attempting to get our attention for a while, okay? The largest event with the Pyramid Mothership we slept on, okay? Because the Ophan, those beings that I tell you we see them as the orbs, right? They're the ones responsible for crop circles, all right? And they dropped the crop circle that many people call the third most important crop circle ever. They say that because of the size. This thing was ginormous. It was several football fields in scope. This thing was ginormous. And when you decoded the crop circle, it basically said Quetzalcoatl. And remember I told you the plume serpent, that's another reference to that wormhole cloud effect that we witnessed, where if you studied that joint, you noticed there was a bluish cloud that was kind of like a serpent, like a snake, and then it had this white plume cloud in front of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this crop circle said the plume serpent Quetzalcoatl is going to return to Earth when Venus transits the sun. So that astronomical event, the Venus Sun transit, occurred June 6, 2012, where you had the planet Venus conjunct the sun in such a way that from Earth's vantage point, if you were looking at the sun with a telescope, it would appear that Venus went right across the face of the sun. And that's all actually caught footage of this event. All right? So, let me finish. So on that same day, June 6, 2012, the largest sighting ever occurred. It was witnessed by millions, videotaped by thousands. And that Pyramid Mothership, that same craft that was just seen over L.A., flew from Russia to is it real? And it flew over several other nations in the process, including Syria, Jordan, Turkey, Lebanon, a couple of other countries up closer to Russia, right? So it was seen in all these places. And again, what did Babylon do? They said, "Oh, it was a failed missile launch. Russia was experimenting with missile launch, and it was a failed missile launch." But let me ask you this, brother: if Russia shot a missile over, is it real? You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If Russia shot a missile over, is it real? Failed launch or not? You think that wouldn't jump off World War III?
Right.
Okay? So now, but this is what I'm saying. This event was viewed by millions over 9 countries, videotaped by thousands. There's so much footage on that. What do we do over here? We ain't pay no attention to that thing. This same craft was over Miami 2 months ago. Just as much footage that you have from L.A., you got the same footage over Miami. What did they say? Failed missile launch. There's a lot of failed missiles popping off these days, brother. Norway, 2009, over Norway, same thing. Some of the clearest footage of the Pyramid Mothership, plume cloud effect, wormhole effect, captured in Norway, 2009. What'd they say? Failed missile launch. So how long are we going to go for that?
Right.
Okay. Now, I've heard some people say that it's Project Bluebeam, that this is some holographic projection into the atmosphere to confuse us. You know what? I'm open to that possibility. But what makes me doubt it is a couple of things. One is I've seen footage from some Russian declassified military footage going back to 1953 of the Pyramid Mothership. I don't know if they had Project Bluebeam jumping off at that time. And also, our ancestors, the Dogon, have rock carvings of the Pyramid Mothership. The Maya and the Olmec depict that plume serpent Quetzalcoatl effect very similar to what we witnessed. So they didn't have blue beam back in ancient times. But now when you see floating cities, because how can you explain that? How can a whole city propel itself? Right? So you see floating cities and shit like that, that might be a holographic projection to confuse people. Okay? Then another thing, too, is what I would say is consistency. Right? Because that same plume cloud shut down China's airport in 2012.
Right.
Okay? That same cloud. And China's airport was shut down twice. Once when the Pyramid Mothership made the plume cloud effect over the airport. The second time, the Pyramid Mothership just materialized right over the air traffic control tower of China's airport and released some orbs. Okay? And there's footage of all of that. So this is what I'm saying. I have hundreds of clips that I've documented from YouTube. And it's consistency that makes me feel like this thing is real. Because, and let me explain even why that plume cloud looks the way it is. Because when the Pyramid Mothership comes down, like again, also known as Ra's Ark of a Million Years, also known as the Macabre, the Divine Throne Chariot of the Most High, when that thing materializes in our atmosphere, it's big. This thing is ginormous. It's approximately 7 stories tall. How do we know that? Because it's materialized near skyscrapers in Taiwan. And so you can look at the length of the ship compared to a building and count the number of stories, right? So now, many times when the Pyramid Mothership appears, there's also a smaller pyramid craft right there with it, circling around it, orbiting around the larger one. Mm-hmm. All right? And when we see that plume cloud, 2 things are happening. Number one, the large Pyramid Mothership is spinning quickly on its axis. That's what makes that purple thin cloud that you see in that footage in LA. Directly in front of that large Pyramid Mothership, the smaller pyramid craft is spinning in front of it, again, very quickly. And that's what makes the white plume cloud. And that smaller pyramid is spinning in front of it in an attempt to open up a wormhole that larger craft can pass through. Once the larger craft passes through, the nature of the cloud changes. And you can watch this footage from all the different places it was filmed. And you'll see when the larger craft leaves because the nature of the cloud changes. That purple cloud doesn't, it ceases to exist. It like stops. And the white plume diminishes some. And then you just see a small, looks like a white dot, almost like an ejaculation of sperm coming out of that cloud, like a small dot that extends out for a little while, and then it too will disappear. Because what has happened is that smaller pyramid craft, once it opens up the wormhole for the larger pyramid, it's done what it has to do, it moves a little bit further, then it leaves the atmosphere as well. Okay? So again, I go in depth on this on my Rockspin 188 is my YouTube channel. The heavens are open. It's a 2-hour study on this thing. And I've compiled hundreds of clips. We can look at one clip of it because, number one, like I said, man, the Pyramid Mothership be appearing all over the place. I got footage of it over New York, in Colombia, in Spain, China, all over the place. This plume cloud effect. Yeah, man, you see it all over the place, all over the world. But again, because this is some old fake sci-fi bullshit that we're not supposed to be paying attention to, like for whatever reason black people can't study something not in the 3D reality. For whatever reason. It has no relevance to us. The stigma or the thing that they place above black people is that because we're the race that has
the quote unquote race that has the quote unquote biggest problems down here. We don't have time to focus on that because we're supposed to be focused on building a community or police brutality or some of the basics. So we're not supposed to be allowed to go venture into, you know.
And I hear that. And my thing is, it needs to be both ends. I'm very grounded in my community, brother. And you ask anyone in Philadelphia that knows Iman and knows the works that I do, how many lives, young lives, youth that I touch, working in schools, working in the community, how many elders Iman deal with and heal and bring some loving kindness and mercy to, how much economic development I share in the community. I do that. But I also open up my awareness to our celestial family. It should be both and. It shouldn't be either or. That is mental and conceptual incarceration. And that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, to challenge people to open up their mind. Because in other words, right, you see this, again, we're the human shield. You see this, you fall right into the Babylon program mentality. Number one, you scared because you don't know what the fuck you're looking at, right? Mm. Then you think it's the false flag alien invasion. That's a whole nother reality that Babylon wants to pop off. But we can know, going back to Ronald Reagan, where and as a part of their script to create the one world government, the new world order, all that, right? What they want to do is, and this is the story that they played out in that film Independence Day, where this alien invasion comes, and the only way they can be defeated is if all the countries of the world give up their sovereignty and unite in one force against the aliens. Mm-hmm. And Ronald Reagan then dropped that scenario in front of the United Nations during his presidency, and we've seen that scene. We've heard that scene in entertainment and government propaganda, going forward from the 80s. Okay? So you don't study this thing, you don't pay attention, this thing jumps off because that's another, right, because the reality is that the phenomena is here. So what, you going to be in denial? You're going to say it ain't real? It's some bullshit? It's some Project Blue Beam, they're just trying to play tricks on our mind? Don't pay attention to it? Nah, and then when these things jump off, you're going to be confused. You're not going to know who's who. And you're not going to... Right now, as far as our heavenly host concerned, we are helpless. We are helpless. We are not in a position where we can be helped. And the first step in getting in that position where we can be helped is to know who is who. Yeah, so the crop circle, they communicate to us really in three main ways. One is the crop circles, where they use sacred geometry and divine mathematics, universal, omniversal languages, to try to waken us up. The other way they communicate with us is the sightings. When a sighting occurs, where a sighting occurs is significant. And then they actually communicate with us through communion, where if we can still our mind, discipline our body, attune our spirit proper, and man, they commune directly with you in your heavens. Okay? The Book of Enoch, if you want to get all, deeper into it, the Ethiopian Book of Enoch which is the first book of angelology, the study of angels. Okay? And this is our tradition coming right out of the horn of Al-Kebulan. Okay? They tell us there's three triads of angelic beings. The ninth, the lowest order, are called the Amlaks. Our kings, our divine kings, are part of the celestial family. All right? So they say our kings, our Amlaks, are the ninth, the lowest order of angelic beings. The highest order is the seraphim. These are like fire beings. They don't leave the seventh heaven, which is the black star, misnomered black hole at the center of our galaxy, which we would see as a star in the constellation Sagittarius, Sagittarius A. Okay, we're about 26,000 light years from the seventh heaven. So you got the highest order angels there, the seraphim. Next order is the cherubim. These are like water beings. The book of Enoch, they describe clearly. Then the next hierarchy is the Aphanim. These are humanoid beings. They are described as being looking like humans. 5 fingers on a hand, 2 hands, 2 feet, 10 toes. These are celestial family. Mm-hmm. Okay, so study the Ethiopian book of Enoch. Study the Dogon and the Koranah. With the Dogon call the Ophan the Nomotitiani. Okay, in Kemet, they were called the Anui. Humanity was the Anu. The Ophanim were called the Anui. So yeah, we got to ground ourselves, because this is another thing, right? We want to study our ancestors' history, right? Like we'll study our history, but then when it comes time to study our cosmology, our celestial origins, now all of a sudden that's some fantasy, imaginative stuff. Why? Because Eurocentric scholars say that when they are, so-called Egyptologists, right? They want to put that in the realm of the fanciful and the unbelievable and the imaginative, non-material, right? Yeah. So then our researchers do the same thing. So now, I heard the brother Kalindi Ayub. He said something. He said, you either come from a risen monkey or a fallen angel. It's up for you to determine which one. And that's real. Because if we don't accept our ancestors' cosmology that say we are star seeds of celestial origin and have a heavenly host family, right? Mm-hmm. Then we have to say we are part of that outer African evolution paradigm that says we come from monkeys out of a tree. So if you want to identify with the monkey out of the tree, then, hey, that's your option. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with what my ancestors told me. Ashe?
Ashe. Once again, brother, I want to thank you for coming on the program. Leave the people some contact information if they want to get some more info on this topic here.
RasBen.com. RASBEN.com. My YouTube channel, RasBen188. The heavens are open. Watch it. The heavens are open because I go in. Or right now, right. And here's another thing. I thank you for opening up this opportunity, the reason on this. But this ain't easy talking about this thing in a half hour. And that sound like you just burned a big head spliff and on some old psychotropic, psychedelic reality. And I understand. And you know what? There's going to be people that even with all that I shared on that, that's how they're going to interpret this thing. Okay? But the heavens are open. Like I said, man, I've researched this thing thoroughly. Anyone that is familiar with me, one thing you could say, I do my research thoroughly. Okay? And so the heavens are open. The heavens are open represents that. All right? Check it out.
Yeah, check that out, y'all. This Brother Rich, Underground Railroad Radio. We're going to have you back on again soon, brother. So the people definitely going to be hearing from you soon. But we're starting out. Okay.
I do just want to say, brother, yeah, you definitely taken my message to another plateau, man. From the point I first did that interview with you at Nicholas.
Right.
From that point, now I've been on another plateau. I've been international. So thank you, brother. Thank you, Underground Railroad, you know. Big up. Keep doing your holy divine works, brother. And may you be protected by the angels and ancestors in all you do.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yes,
we're going to sign out. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Respect.